your part well. But as you'll see, I don't need you anymore.
How's it going, Warlords? DarkBritton is taking the stage, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host.
Samurai Drew, what do we got for him today, DarkBrit?
All right, we have for them something really fun because the end of the year is approaching. Unfortunately, with a schedule with One Piece and the chapters coming out, we weren't able to get to the fabled 1,000 technically because we follow the official, not the scans. So, in the meantime, I think it would be fun to try and speculate on what One Piece chapter 1,000 is going to be like. That's what I have for him in store. What do you think about that, Samurai? Do you think it's going to be something that the people might enjoy?
I'm very excited to share what I think is going to happen in chapter 1000.
Which is fun.
But I feel like we have to throw them through some history first.
Ooh, Samurai Drew with the history. And it's good because I may have notes on that history. Because
I believe you do. I love the notes. Yeah, that's a great idea to have notes.
Great minds think alike. So with this, we're gonna be going through all the big 100s within One Piece, and then go into what we think could actually happen, reveals, scandals, misdirections, whatnot, after we cover those previous 9 chapters. Okay, so we're gonna jump on in with chapter 100, and that's gonna be The Legend Begins. And it's an interesting time. This is when there are Luffy just survived the execution. They're running out. Smoker tries to catch them. He gets stopped by someone he says is dragon. Interesting. And then at the very end of the chapter is when the first 5 members of the crew from the East Blue, also rhymed, put their foot on the barrel and then smash it after they say their iconic goals for who they want to be after they conquer the Grand Line. And that is chapter 100 in a nutshell. Drew, do you remember that majesty of chapter 100?
I do, and I believe that's where the live action version will end, on chapter 100-ish.
That would be perfect.
So they smack the barrels down, and then, so total smoke show. It's so great. I love that. Love those chapters.
I'm interested in that. And it's really cool. It doesn't set up too much. It gives this mysterious character with the tattoo on his face called Dragon. It gives us that. So it gives us intrigue, but there's no really big twists. There's not a lot of fallout, big fights, what have you. It's them Luffy running into this mysterious smoke fruit from Smoker. And then
our first Logia.
Our first Logia. And a really good taste of what's going to happen now that we're finally in the Grand Line. So, switching into chapter 200, that is when Luffy turns the tide on Sir Crocodile. We're in the apex of the Alabasta fight. The climax is well going on, and we have Luffy figuring out that Crocodile is weak to water. And he shows up with this water bucket. Luffy in the most detrimental fights always has a sense of humor, which is kind of gives me an idea for this upcoming chapter. This upcoming chapter 1000, actually. So I might add that to my notes. But with this, Luffy lost his first fight, previous chapters. He is coming back for round 2, which he does end up losing, but that's when he also fills himself up with the water. In the very end, I believe, is him spitting a big thing on Crocodile, and it's like, you're about to get messed up. So that was chapter 200. Do you remember that one and all those fun things?
Yeah, okay, how do I explain this? Putting Crocodile on his back heels by just getting him drenched in water when he's been this cool, collected character this whole time, and Luffy spits water at him. He looks like a freaking dope,
right?
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where you don't expect him to be this serious fighter, and he's a goofball, and it just turns out well for them, which is pretty cool. So that is chapter 200. Chapter 300 is in the very end of Sky Pia. Right at this point, everyone is recovering from their fight with Enel. Luffy is up and moving, and we find out that the Endless Vars was the moon. Enel is heading to the moon, so that was like the big doom surprise. And then afterwards, we had a huge party where everyone celebrated with both sides that everything was done. It was the biggest part again was the Endless Varth, but it wasn't like this tide shaking message that came in chapter 300. Thoughts?
Yeah. So he goes to the moon. Glad we never see anything from that again besides the cover pages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, he went to the moon. That's great. All right,
nice
moving on. Like, hey, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that for a minute. Like, where's the atmosphere? You know, where's the, look, a couple questions, Oda. You know,
a few, and those few questions continue because in number 400, chapter 400, the key to freedom. Nice. Is when we have Kokoro actually, she did lead the charge into Eni's lobby with the train going above the bridge. This is the iconic this is after Luffy grabbed everyone after the iconic moment where Soga King shoots down the flag. They fall onto the train is coming over the gorge, and they initiate the fight. So this is the starting gun for that conflict. Again, it doesn't necessarily connect as far as what we're going through now, because we are well into the fight in Onigashima. We could see a lot of new characters potentially pop up, but this is also when the Straw Hats started matching up one-on-one. Good chapter, very enjoyable, but not necessarily that earth-shaking revelation. But it was a cool, this is about to get started kind of thing.
Did you see in the anime when that happened, there was some kind of like flood or something crazy happened where they had to take some weeks off, basically, and they had to have like 8 filler episodes in a row.
Is that where that came from?
I think so.
That makes sense now. I remember those. I hated those. Filler episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where 400 in the lore apparently behind a lot of the episodes with it. Oh, and that's actually kind of nice because chapter 500 is the Embers of History, and it has the CP9's cover story. And you just see Khalifa in the rain. Kind of scandalous. I like it, not gonna lie. So this chapter 500 is they're in the Sabati Archipelago. Lots of interesting things happening. And we are in the auction house, and this is when all the big players come into the auction house. We see Kid and all of his crew. This is when Law flips off Kid, so we know Law's pretty cool. And we see people get knocked out, and all of a sudden the giant looks down and he's like, I know you did that. Who are you? And you just see this drunk old dude just be like, I'm Silver Ray, and I have no idea what you're talking about. So that 500 really had one of the big reveals as far as characters in these 100th chapters. Other than Smoker's ability and Dragon, I guess, in chapter 100. But this is really this was Gold D. Rogers' first hand man. So this was one of the most impactful 100s that we've gotten. Thoughts?
So Rayleigh is like totally badass, and it's like when you're watching it, there's no way to guess that's who that is. You wouldn't know, like in a million years, you wouldn't guess that was Rayleigh until he says it, right? At least I didn't get that.
I didn't either, and that was crazy. And it was it was just one of those things where that's where we're reintroduced, and then a lot happened. And then we have chapter 600, Return to Sabati. Luffy finally makes his appearance, and he's hanging out with the fake. It's a fake Straw Hat chapter. Let's just be honest. We meet Caribou. That's probably the biggest reveal, kind of. And then we also see all the Straw Hats interacting, and then it ends with Rayleigh saying that Luffy's on the island. So it's now it's not as impactful because we're seeing it in hindsight. However, previously it is cool because, if you look at it back at that time, I wasn't week to week at that point, but it was just such a cool thing in the community of being able to see all these characters and their designs now interacting after 2 years of being separated. So that's pretty cool. It's chapter 600.
Got it right here.
There you go.
Here we go.
You're holding a little history of what we are speaking of.
Yes. And this is a really, like it's so funny to see these pages. They're just filled to the brim with information.
Okay.
He's really trying to get the story out here. It's so awesome.
This is funny. So the cover story for chapter 700 is about Caribou, the character that we just met in chapter 600. Similar to how chapter 600's cover story was CP9, in chapter 500 or 400 was Annie's Lobby. That's pretty funny. So maybe a little bit of a something happening.
It's insane to think that all that happened between 500 and chapter 600.
It's insane.
It just seems like it's much longer being in it, you know? Like,
and the time scale.
Lily,
Amazon Lily, Impel Down,
Marineford, and the backstory.
So 4 technical arcs.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. And that leads us into chapter 700, which again starts off with cover story of Caribou, but this is where Dofi quits the Warlords. They finally get to Dressrosa. We learn about the Warlords. This is actually a very stocked chapter. This is a true boom 100th type chapter, because chapter 700 is when we see Dofi with the Mirror no Mi stating that he's about to lure Straw Hat into the trap, and we're all just like, yeah, Luffy's about to get caught chasing that. So very, very cool. Chapter 700 kicking off Dressrosa. Thoughts on that?
I'm more I mean, that does seem big to me, but it seems like maybe the other ones are a little bigger than that to me, maybe.
That's fair. That's very, very fair.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 800.
Especially the next one, because I'm sure the next one is the one I like better.
Next one is Sun's Cups. And that is Luffy gets a Grand Fleet and turns it down.
And they leave.
Without thinking.
Right. And they leave Dressrosa.
Mm-hmm.
Right when I freaking caught up to One Piece, they just entered Dressrosa. That's when I first started.
So you were week to week with Dress. It's
right
just
at Dressrosa, and I was so happy when I got out of there.
And that, this is impactful on the realms of Luffy is now not on par, but he has the network of an emperor at this point with the establishment of the Grand Fleet, which when we were first hanging out and talking, you had told me about this, and I was anime only at this point, and I had you said there was going to be a big surprise at the end of Dressrosa, and I remember texting you, he got a fucking Grand Fleet. Like, it was just really cool, just like, what? So, chapter 700, I would probably put up there with chapter 500 as those chapters, those 100th chapters of boom, that's dope. So, overall, Luffy gets
I think that's more impact. That one's better, in my opinion.
And they end with a kanpai, drinking and cheersing the end of Dressrosa.
Hell yeah.
So, similar to us in our Sip and Discuss, chapter 800. And then lastly, most recently, chapter 900 really just was the ending of Whole Cake Island. Big Mom eating Sanji's cake and snapping out of it. And then when we thought that the Sunny was destroyed. And that was a good cliffhanger. I don't think anyone really bought that, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't put that as an impactful 900th chapter. It wouldn't be a 500 or 700 or definitely a 200 or 100 because those are dope. So chapter 900, while it was a 100th chapter, it was a mile marking, it didn't necessarily have big things planned. Now, that being said, as we look to chapter 1000, I start to think back on a little bit more of the things that Oda has implemented. We have new characters. I don't think we're going to get new characters. I do think there's going to be at least one devil fruit shown. I doubt that's going to be Kaido. I really do. If anything, it's going to be Sasaki or Who's Who or Black Maria. So one of those three we get a devil fruit for. Also, in chapter 200, when the tides were turning for Luffy, I did remember the time that Luffy, with Crocodile and a few other characters, Luffy loses twice before he wins. He's lost to Kaido once. Does that mean he's going to lose to Kaido again? Could that happen in chapter 1000? Possibly. Luffy might get bopped one more time, but in that he figures out how to actually damage Kaido before he comes back. Similar to this, where Luffy came back understanding how to beat Crocodile because of his, I almost say quirk, because of his devil fruit, and then adjusting to it. I think Luffy still needs that adjustment time after he loses. So I could see him losing in chapter 1000 as well. I could see Kinemon dying. I could see there being a death in chapter 1000.
No devil fruits, but Kinemon dies.
I said a devil fruit reveal.
No, I know. I'm saying like those are two. I don't know. I feel like Kinemon's death would be more dramatic than a devil fruit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like those are my ideas though. Is the way the story is going that someone I could definitely see losing their life in the next 3 chapters, as well as a devil fruit reveal, as well as something impactful about the world around them.
Okay.
What about you?
Okay. So they built the last. So we're on 988, right? So the next chapter we see will be 999.
998 is the next chapter.
Next chapter is 998. Whoops. Okay. They built him a ladder. Okay. We're going straight to the top. Okay. We're going to be clashing with Kaido. Okay. 1000. And Kaido's going to come in with his big Thunder Bakwa or whatever. And Luffy with his Rio. Boom! Stops it just like that. And the chapter ends. That's my big prediction, okay?
Okay.
Boom! Blocks his Thunder Bagua. Right? That's the name of his swing when he does that.
I could see that.
And
no,
we were both talking about the YouTuber Joy Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she has her video about Kaido being a dragon has absolutely got me convinced now that Kaido is a dragon.
I think he's
and
an actual
ate like
dragon.
an Oni fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her video. You should go watch it. It lays it out a lot better than I've ever seen anybody else. So I was not convinced until I saw that. Which it would be that the DNA, they took Kaido's DNA to make Momo's fruit.
I could see that.
Because devil fruits are from a lineage factor, aka DNA, and that and she also points out that Kaido is the strongest creature in the world. We have to like start right from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we are going to get that reveal,
I felt Oda would have just revealed it if it was something as simple as that. I really do. So.
Do we know what King's deal is? Like how King is like some kind of weird species or something?
We
Did
don't
we ever
know
figure out
species.
anything about that?
Mm-mm. He might be the same
That's
species as
strange.
Magellan and Honeyball, because they have wings, but their wings are not like his wings. So he has similar wings.
Oh,
to
weird.
Rouge.
Oh wow, I've never made that connection. I thought those were just costume things. I've never seen him flap them or anything.
No, his
they
wings
look so
actually
strange
fly.
on him.
Because he attacked Sanji midair in human form and then turned into a pteranodon. So technically, his hybrid form could possibly have 2 sets of wings. Birkin wings.
They want to waste the time.
Wings. That,
You can already fly, and then you get like a devil fruit that's a bird. It's like, damn it!
speed boost. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you all for
Oh my gosh.
those who made it this far. Leave your thoughts as far as what you think Chapter 1000 is going to be down in this description below. We do our best to really interact and engage. It's just a fun way for us to really know what people are thinking about and getting a pulse on what the community has to offer. But I'm the DarkBritton.
I'm Samurai Drew.
You all stay reckless, okay? Peace, Warlords.
Peace!